so missed you.
Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Welcome to Paradise, Michigan. This is season 2 of our Kids on Bikes campaign called Welcome to Paradise Academy, season 2, episode 30, Saved by the Bell. In just a couple moments, we will jump forth with a little bit of a recap, and we'll get into the game proper. We're getting just a tad bit of a tad bit of a late start, but nonetheless, actually it started in the 80s. I'm pretty sure it started in the 80s.
Really? You might be right.
Because I was in 1991. I remember watching Zach and Kelly break up, and that was in a later season. Spoiler alert, from like 40 years ago. 30 some years ago. There, thanks. Justification from Chad.
Damn, they just snuck it in to the decade. Look at that.
I'm usually very good about vetting my references that they fall within that 1980 something, and I wasn't 100% sure on that one. So
in this era also Growing Pains was in the publication.
Anyway, we're getting a little bit of a late start for various reasons, but nonetheless, we'll go ahead and get started. And hopefully, I know Tamiko's in the chat, in transit. Somebody will let me know that Tamiko's knocking on the green door with brass handle when the time is right, and we'll let her in, and we'll see if M makes it in time as well. Couple quick announcements. If you tuned in last Friday night, here you caught part 1 of our one shot. Welcome to Hell, Michigan. I knew it wasn't going to be more than a one shot when, for the first 2 hours of the game, those kids did not leave the parking lot. Literally, the first 2 hours of the game, they were still in the parking lot. It was 2 hours before they got on bikes and actually headed out somewhere. So, but that's great. We have more time to tell the story. It's definitely going to be a 3-parter. Things are already getting wild. So you can tune in tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for part 2 of Welcome to Hell, Michigan. And then, next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday, the 27th, you can catch Ted and I over on Nerdarchy for, I think it's been almost 2 months since we played last. The Old Guard, our Da Vinci Punk setting, in which we play old adventurers back for one last adventure.
They're all too old for this shit.
Yep. Every one of us. But anyway, real quick, as always, we well, first I'm gonna point up against our absentee characters over there, Coop and Jessica. If you look above their heads, you will see 40 domain pops. They are the domain dice for this game. They are a way that you, the viewer, can have a bit of an impact on the game for a subscription, a resubscription, a gift sub, tipping $5, cheering 500 bits. All those things will earn domain pops for the players. In fact, I owe you a domain pop for that 41-month subscription from
That's
Carrie.
a lot of months.
And what those do is they can use them to add +1 to, or for everyone they use, it adds +1 to their dice rolls. Or they can spend 5 of them to make themselves or anybody else roll on the D100 mystery grab bag table. And when they use them, this happens. Whoops. I did it again. I hit the wrong button.
Oh, the anticipation.
You know, it's been well over a year, and I'm still super proud of that animation, and that is me making that jumping sound as well. That was a custom and
Screencraft.
I will say
knows no bounds.
on the Welcome to Hell Michigan, it was very quick in the game that the audience, notably Tamiko and Carrie, were very vocal about getting those players access to domain pops. So they have those, and they even rolled on the D100 table, and that is why Zach's character is now animated. He is a full-on cartoon.
And kind of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, and he's kind of turned into Shaggy, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Great.
Any opportunity to hear Zach do his Shaggy impression.
Yep. Yeah, those are domain pops. We've got look, we're all adults. We may be playing kids and teenagers and multiplicity versions of Jake, but we're, you know, you might hear some adult language. You might hear some graphic depictions of violence, intense role play situations. You might encounter use and or abuse of drugs and alcohol, any number of things that maybe you're not into, and that's okay. If that's not something you want to be a part of, feel free to head somewhere else. We will not be offended. But know that we, the players, have we've had session zeros, we've had discussions about our lines and veils, and we have safety tools in place. Safety tools are very important, even for when we thought our Hell game was going to be a one-shot. We still had a session zero, and we established those lines and veils and safety tools so everybody can be safe around the table. Finally, I want to just remind everybody that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it is true. There are any number of reasons why you might be struggling, but the last thing we want you to have to deal with is figuring out how to find help. All you have to do is type !help in our chat, and a couple of URLs will pop up. They'll also show up at the bottom of the screen. You can check out findahelpline.com or check out the growing list of resources at takethis.org. We encourage you to check out those sites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, I would like to welcome you all to Paradise, Michigan. So, you've all made it out of the laboratories. You've made it to, some of you chose to go home to your respective homes, or some of you didn't want to go home, and you chose to stay at a friend's house. Regardless, everybody began making their way to Jessica's house at the Starlight Mobile Park, where some important conversations were happening. Tempers may have risen just a little bit, or maybe not tempers, but definitely
tempers is a good word.
Well, yeah, tempers, as Billy and Jessica in particular were having words, but a few others. And at a certain point, Rosie was ready to leave, but was interrupted in an attempt to peace out by detectives Aim and Feldman.
I forgot about that.
Who had a number of questions to ask everyone. And they seem to know an awful lot already. In addition to wanting to also have a chance to talk to Mr. Eccles, Detective Haim was particularly interested looking at the side of their 1981 Dodge Diplomat, where you could see the remnants where somebody had cleaned off some spray paint that was on the side of their vehicle. And that's kind of where we left things, as Rosie was pedaling off into the distance, furiously hoping to get to Laz. And I think that's where we are going to pick up is while Rosie is headed to find Laz, well, we're going to find Laz first. Laz, where have you been? Did you go home last night? And why didn't you show up at Jessica's? Or why didn't you show up yet? Or whatever the case may be.
So, I think Laz probably went, I don't know, Bombing the Hill just doesn't have the same
it's very
the same
easy.
draw that it used to.
You had a very long and stressful weekend. You finally got a chance to get back to your bed. You probably just slept in.
That's true.
I mean,
It's like, I am done.
You're over here putting all this thought into it, and you're just, Ted's like, you just overslept, man. You were tired.
That's
as hell.
entirely possible.
Going
There's
through a
just like
growth
a-
spurt. It's hell.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe the mustache is coming in.
There
Yeah.
there may or may not be a glass pipe sitting next to his bed somewhere,
Jesus.
half full of like brown bong water, like Mr. Pibb cans kind of littered everywhere.
Oh yeah, it's crunched up.
So I imagine as that's sort of the scene that we enter into. We see the trademark red LED alarm clock next to the bed. Probably, I'm gonna say it's probably saying like 4:37. You know what? Just for fun, it's 4:20 p.m. On Sunday afternoon. It just clicks over to 4:21 as the camera sort of rises up, and that's the scene we see is Laz is zonked out. There's these I imagine probably have blackout curtains. There's very little light getting around them, and like you said, there's just stuff strewn all about, and it's
I
just
think
this
there's like I just dropped the ball on the name. Clash of the Titans is playing on Laserdisc, like on his TV, like in the corner of his room, and it's probably on the 7th or 8th playthrough at this point.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You see probably one of the scenes as the camera pans around the room, doing this slow 80s pan, and we see the TV, and we see I believe, wasn't the owl's name like Archimedes?
Yep. Maybe
The little mechanical
that's
owl.
the owl in the Sword in the Stone.
I know that.
Archimedes.
Greatest character ever.
Well, regardless, regardless, there's the little mechanical owl in Clash of the Titans has one of those little moments where it's kind of startled and the wings go up, and that's the exact moment that Rosie comes bursting in through your bedroom door.
Laz, wake up!
What?
Oh,
What's going
God,
on?
it stinks in here.
Oh, I didn't know you were coming over. He kind of like rolls out of bed.
Rosie
got,
looks
like-
sweaty and she's out of breath.
Yeah, he's got like a pair of cotton shorts on, and I don't imagine a shirt. And he's just kind of like trying to run around the room now, half awake, kind of like
Okay.
trying to hide like dirty laundry and
Don't worry.
absolute mess.
I'm not looking. Your mom let me in. Meet me downstairs. I can't stay in here. And Rosie just like
Sorry.
goes back out.
I can't be here.
I thought I was ready to see this. I'm not ready to see this. And she leaves. Rosie is like, meet me outside. And Rosie goes back out and just kind of sits on the stoop and waits for Laz.
I imagine when you come downstairs, you're probably greeted Mrs. Eccles, who I've forgotten her first name.
Jeannie.
Jeannie. Yep. I was just about to pull it up. There it is.
She insists on being called Jeannie.
Yeah, Jeannie is 100% also just wearing a robe, house slippers. Looks like she rolled out of bed maybe an hour or two ago. And she's sitting at the breakfast nook as you come through, and just says, she lights up a cigarette and she just says, "Hey, have a seat. There's coffee if you want it." Wait.
Oh.
Well. What am I thinking?
No, I drink coffee. I drink coffee all the time. And Rosie goes over and sits at the breakfast nook and pours herself a cup of coffee at the counter, I imagine, and brings it over to the table and sits.
There's like probably 3 or 4 boxes of like Cinnamon Life, Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries,
sick,
Cookie Crisp, and Lucky Charms.
I imagine Rosie kind of like, as she's pouring her coffee, she sees the box of Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries, and she goes, like, she kind of like, despite herself, kind of makes a sound like, oh, and like doesn't, because she doesn't want to ask for it like a bum, but like she kind of like is like thinking about it maybe.
And Jeannie immediately just kind of goes, "Help yourself," as she slides the Captain Crunch over to you, and you see as she takes Cookie Crisp and then she adds in a little bit of Lucky Charms and a little bit of I forgot what the other cereal was. I said
metal as fuck. Cinnamon Life and frickin' okay.
Yes, a little bit of Cinnamon Life, and kind of mixes it all together. After you pour some Captain Crunch, she then adds a little bit of that to it.
As soon as she says, like, gives Rosie the go ahead, you hear Rosie go, "Yes!" like just to herself, and then like starts pouring herself a thing of Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries, and then comes back over, almost goes without her cup of coffee, but then like in a desperate attempt to make Mrs. Eccles think she's cool, she brings her coffee over too, and be like, "Hey," and she just sits and be like, "Thank you, ma'am, Jeannie, I appreciate it. This is we get the Meyer brand stuff at my house." So.
She doesn't really make much of a comment as she pours milk and kind of hands you the glass pitcher that has the milk poured into it, and she kind of takes her spoon and she's mixing all these cereals together, and she goes, "So, you guys must have had quite a weekend, huh?"
I mean, yeah, everything was a lot of fun. The dance was fun, and it was a lot of fun, you know. Rosie takes a sip of the coffee and like tries to keep her face from just twisting into something awful.
Make a
bitter.
grit check.
Okay. Grit. This is gonna be great. I can tell already. It's gonna happen for me. It's a nat 20.
Nice.
I'm not shitting you. That's awesome. Okay, exploding. And that's a 19 for a 39 total. I manifested this.
As you take a drink of this coffee, Jeannie just kind of raises one eyebrow and goes, "Huh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have figured you for a black coffee drinker."
No, drink it all the time, you know. It's just whatever. Rosie's just trying way too hard. I'm sure it's obvious.
So I imagine this is the scene that, Laz, you come down, probably even expecting to go outside, and before, as you pass through, you spot Rosie, and yeah, this is the scene you see.
I think he absolutely like blows through the room, like at like a brisk like run, like heading for the door, like, you know, putting on his second shoe or whatever, and he's like halfway like towards the door, and then he just like on one foot, sneaker kind of like still held halfway on his other foot, he like hops backwards with like, squeak, 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 so that he can see through the doorway, and he just kind of like stares at the table, and casually like puts his shoe on and puts his other foot down. What's going on?
Sit down, have some breakfast. Have some, and he kind of gives a sideways look at Rosie with an amused look on her face. She goes, have some coffee.
Yeah, we're just having some coffee and, some late breakfast.
Hey, this is totally fucking normal. He kind of like moves over to the cereals and makes himself a bowl of the Lucky Charms. Realizes there's far too many of the cereal pieces, not enough of the marshmallow pieces, so he like kind of puts several of the cereal pieces back in the box to balance the ratio more.
Laz is developing a little bit of touch of OCD during this.
This feels very much like
it is not a 1-to-7 ratio. It needs to be perfect.
This also feels very much like it's a lose-lose situation, because your first few bowls you're going to be able to get the ratio you want, but the more you get into that box, you're
yourself
skewing
near
it.
the bottom of the box. Yeah, you're skewing the ratio, man.
That's why you have to add the marshmallows to the bowl you've got, so that once you get down to there's no marshmallows left, you just throw them back.
That's why they sell just the marshmallows now. So
but it's also the reason why you don't live alone. So that way it's
always random. Yeah. So I'm sitting there and determined to drink the rest of this coffee, but I have to have a couple of bites of Captain Crunch between it, because just to freaking cleanse my palate.
So is there any of the alcohol still in your system? Is the
That's
question.
A great question. I doubt it, because I think I sweated it out on the way here, because it's hot and Rosie was going just
good thing it was
fucking
vodka,
Mach
right?
10 all the way. Yeah, 2 shots of vodka, which again, because Rosie's a fucking baby, is probably that's probably why she's a little bit more like loosey-goosey right now. It still kind of has an effect.
So I just need to make a quick roll for Jeannie. And
it is like, is it like in the evening? It's 4 o'clock.
It's by now it's probably about close to 4:30 in the afternoon.
Super.
Perfect time to eat cereal and drink coffee.
Lunch cereal is the best.
Dinner time for a lot of normal families, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, so Mrs. Eccles, Laz says you're working on a new album.
And you see that as she's sitting there, you look over at her, and it's almost like she didn't hear your question, because she's got the as Laz was pouring his cereal, she was sitting there kind of drumming her fingers on the table a little bit. And as you say that, she just kind of almost probably in a response that Laz has grown accustomed to over the years, she just puts a finger up as she's drumming, and then she takes the spoon and kind of wipes it clean by taking a bite off of it, licking the spoon clean, and she takes the spoon and starts going dum, 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 and
I look at Laz and kind of like shrug.
She reaches over and grabs your spoon, Rosie. And you see her going doom tick tick doom tick doom tick tick doom tick doom. And she looks over towards the counter. She grabs a pen real quick, jots a couple things down, and at this point, Laz, she's gone. She's standing up. She's left her cigarette burn in the ashtray, and she takes the spoons, hits them a couple more times on the counter, and then she just goes, I gotta go. And she takes her notebook, the spoons, her coffee, leaves the cigarette behind, and she's just in a swirl of bathrobe and house slippers. She is heading down into the basement studio where very quickly you begin to hear the staccato sounds of her
the same rhythm we heard a second ago.
You hear a little bit of it, and then silence, and then a little bit more with a fill as she's something came to her. I rolled a charm check. That 3 was her having no tact whatsoever.
Just fucking tortured artist. I love it. I
think with like a practiced rhythm, Laz just walks over and pulls the spoon out of like his bowl and hands it to Rosie.
Thanks.
And then reaches over and puts her cigarette out in the ashtray and then goes back into the kitchen to get himself another spoon.
Does she do that a lot?
Yeah, quite a bit actually. Not with the spoons. That's new. I don't know what's going on with that. She watched some documentary not that long ago about like some hillbillies that play spoons as instruments, and it's all this she fucking does now. I don't know.
Rosie kind of shakes her head. She's like, "That's cool." And then she's like, "Oh, jeez, the reason I came. Oh my god, I forgot. First of all, I'm never drinking coffee again. I hate that. That was so much, but like anyway, the FBI is looking for us. They were talking
to us.
You
spit cereal out.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The FBI?
Yeah. The FBI.
Like the FBI.
The FBI. The federal. The FBI.
Yeah. And
they're
looking for us?
They're not. They found us. We were all at Jessica's for a little while, and then all of a sudden I was getting ready to leave, and I show up and there were just freaking 2 suits at the door, man. There was a guy and a girl.
What did they want?
To ask us questions. They wanted to know. They know everything, dude. They know about like the iterations, it seemed like, and they knew about all of us, and they asked about anything that was weird that was going on, and I didn't tell them anything, but. And then Rosie kind of like looks distant, and she like shakes her head, and she kind of looks back into her cereal. And as much as she loves fucking crunch berries, she has eaten around this, so like there's only crunch berries left. And this is before Oops All Berries was a thing. And normally she would just be mowing this, but she's not. And she looks like she's thinking about something, and she kind of shrugs, and she's like, Billy was telling him everything. Like, Billy was just spilling the beans about everything to him.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, how do we know that they're not like?
We don't. That's why I kept my mouth shut. But we don't know anything. I mean, I wanted to keep my mouth shut. I don't trust anybody except us. But like, I don't know. I think we should keep an eye on Billy, man. I think he's pissed about Anne.
Yeah, I mean, I know he is, and then I can't entirely say that I blame him, you know. But
I mean, it's a shitty situation, but he can't blame us. And based on the vibe this morning, he's kind of blaming us.
Well,
called us all selfish. That's the word he said, selfish.
Like Billy's got a lot going on, you know, and sometimes he snaps, you know. He's got that monster, you know, inside of him, and I think that, you know, Anne kind of brought more of that out in him, you know. And I don't know, like,
I mean, but he's not the only one with shit going on, you know? I mean, you know.
No, you're right.
I don't know. I'm not saying we should go kick his ass or anything. I'm just saying we should keep an eye on him. Just arm's length, you know?
You think that, like, he might, like, turn on us?
I don't know. I mean, Billy, I was ready for him to be just happy that we were all back together again, but he didn't seem that way. He seems just, he was all morose, and he just sat there and he was all pissed, and he kept calling us selfish. And I mean, why do you think I left? He and Jessica got in a big freaking blow up. I'm surprised she didn't kick his ass out of the house.
maybe I don't know. Maybe do you think maybe like he wants to talk?
I mean,
like maybe should I talk to him?
Sure. I mean, yeah, talk to him. I don't care what you do, but all I'm saying is that I mean, he seems like he picked a side, and I'm not entirely sure it was ours, Laz. I'm not 100% sure, you know? I'm like I am with you. I'm 100% sure with you. I'm not 100% sure with Billy.
We'll keep an eye on him, you know?
Yeah.
That shit with
That's all
Dan
I'm saying.
was really fucked up. It's honestly, it's still kind of messing with me a little bit.
Tell me about it.
Why I hit things so hard last night, you know?
Yeah.
I don't really know exactly how I feel about all of it yet, but I do know that it was fucked up, you know, that she did to Jess, and you know, Jess and I aren't like best friends or anything, but still, it's not cool, you know?
Yeah. I mean, everything in there was fucked up. I think we can agree on that. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. He reaches across the table and he puts his hand like on yours.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and Rosie kind of smiles at him and nods.
Okay, like whatever's gonna happen, I got your back.
Thanks, Lass.
Yeah,
I think that's a great place to like stop, like scene.
I was just gonna say,
as the thespians say.
I was just gonna say, I would like to know where Billy is. I feel like we left things at a point where it's Sunday afternoon. People are either going to continue to hang out or they're going to disperse to their own homes. Billy, would you have stayed at Jessica's or would you have left?
I imagine that there was probably like, as the Coreys kind of like, you know, hand off the business card and, you know, say their farewells. There's probably, and I hope that Emma's okay with this, but like, I look back and Jessica is kind of unable to keep the look off of her face of the disappointment that Billy was just so open about all of this, that he just kind of like, I'm out. And he just grabs his bike, looks to Oak, and is like, look, you're welcome back to my place if you want. And, you know, he waits to see if Oak responds. And if he comes with, he comes with. If not, Billy heads back to Stapler House.
I think he appreciates the invitation, and I think he might actually take you up on the invitation, but I think he hesitates in going with you directly, like immediately. Right? I'll meet you back. I'll meet you back there.
So he gives a wave in the general direction, without looking at anyone, and say, you know, see y'all at school tomorrow. He just, you know, turns and pedals off home.
Yeah, and I think I would just kind of stick around in the area for a minute, left with Jessica and Coop.
Jessica,
I think
when Billy leaves,
mm-hmm.
and it's just the three of you, Coop, Oak, and Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica looks after the departing Billy with a mixture of anger and sadness. And she looks at the two of you and says, You can stay here if you want, but I can't and she just stopping herself from either getting angrier or from crying. She just says, I just can't. And she turns and walks down the hall to her room, and you hear the door close to her bedroom, leaving the two of you alone in Jessica's trailer.
That was really awkward.
Yeah. Look, I don't think I expected that to go that way either. Like, I thought everybody would see each other and be, like, happy y'all survived. And
it was supposed to be happy. Happy,
yeah.
Everyone's alive.
Yeah, I thought that too. I thought that was what was gonna happen. And why is that gonna happen to us, Coop? Like, when we get older, are we gonna be like that?
Who can say what hormones are gonna do to us?
Yeah, I feel like I'm already feeling that, but like that. Promise me whatever happens in like every iteration, like that doesn't happen between you and me, okay? Like, I don't want to have us go through some crazy thing again, all for us to just fight. I thought doing that was gonna bring us back together and make things right, but look at this.
Oh, I know that Laz is your best friend, but I promise you that no matter what, I'll never turn against you. Pinky swear.
Oh, wait, pinky swear with the power glove? Oh,
Pinky
dude.
swear with the power glove.
Now you're pinky swearing with power.
And I think like, yeah, there's like this. If there was an animation in this moment, it's very Bill and Ted, where the two kids are on the front stoop. There's like a lightning bolt animation that comes down when the two pinkies like anime flash together. And
hey, you want to come over and help me finish eating these Oreos and see my plant dragon?
Yeah, I could do anything if it's just calm and relaxing. I just want to do something for us. I mean, for us, normal? Like, is that the best way to describe it?
I think the line on normal for us is shifting a little bit, but kind of normal.
I could use anything that's kind of normal right now.
And you'll get to see James and Tempe.
Wait, Coop, have you just been collecting them?
Kind of. I don't understand how it happened.
Okay, this is the coolest thing. I would love this.
Probably because I always have food.
I mean, that could explain it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, come on.
Okay. And the two of them go off
on an adorable adventure.
On an adorable adventure away from stress for a minute. Like, just enjoy the child.
Yes.
So
that's awesome.
As the littles, my favorite thing is having Coop and Oak together, because that way it's exponentially increases the chance that I'm going to screw up their names. You two have a little bit of a longer ride, not terribly longer, but to get back to Coop's house on the south side of town. As you two head out of the trailer park and turn right, and then you get to a point where you have to follow M22 down and around, the camera's going to let you go and swing around back down one of the side streets and catch up to Billy as he's riding his bike where are you going, Billy?
So he heads back home, and the entire ride, he's replaying the conversation, in his head of what happened to Jessica's, and he's trying to think like, how did this all go wrong? How, what should he have said? How could he have properly conveyed to his friends the amount of pain that he's in and what have you? Like, he's so emotional over, what he would look at as kind of a bit of a betrayal. Since the beginning of the summer, like these friends have been thrust in his life, and after a exhausting weekend of highs and lows, it ends with his girl being gone and his friends being responsible, and he kind of does like what the typical teenager does. Like, he'll just leave his bike outside, go up to his room, slamming doors the entire way. And he goes to his room to ponder and think, like, what recourse does he have? Like, it's clear that none of his friends want anything to do with Anne, but maybe Coop. And like, it's shocking, like, all of a sudden that this happened, and he doesn't know how to handle it all. So like, he begins thinking of like, do I throw myself into something else, like some one of these mysteries as a project? Does he abandon everything, including his friends? Like, he just begins thinking about all these options and what he could do, and just kind of lays there hoping that maybe Oak and the newfound connection that the two of them have, like, he'll join him here and maybe pull him out of this morose and spiral that he's in.
Give me.
Meanwhile, Oak is high out of his mind on half a sleeve of Oreos. I'm just kidding.
Give me a.
I hadn't grabbed dice, so
yeah. Give me a. I'm gonna say brains check.
That's a nat one, sir.
Oh. In all things,
Let
there
me
are
just
balance.
double check if that's what I wanted. Okay. They added in second edition, under your stats, likely verbs, which help to figure out what checks to use.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it kind of confirms. It's actually, I'm gonna have you re-roll that. I think, because where did it go? I think. Yeah, it's weird. They don't really have a one that says like notice or perceive. I guess we'll stick with the brains, though. Learn, remember, solve, understand, those all fall under there. So what the audience sees while you're puttering around in your room and figuring things out is, at some point when you come into the room, and in fact when you come into the room, you swing your door open and you step in and you miss the piece of paper that's lying on the floor that's been slid under your door. And when you slam your door shut, the movement of the door causes it to, and it slides in underneath the dresser. And then at some point you throw your backpack down or something, and it blocks your view of that. So we, the audience, know that there is a note under your dresser.
It's a camera shot from under the dresser.
Yeah.
You can see it like,
Somebody slipped a note under your door, but with that nat 1, you have no idea it's there. Is there anything in particular you're doing? Are you pretty much at the end of your day? Or I guess at this point, it's pushing 4:30, close to 5.
He's. I wish I had a more exciting answer, but he's trapped in his head. Yeah, so he's got problems.
I imagine there's a point where around 6 o'clock that there's a light knock on the door, and the door opens just a crack, and you hear, "Billy, you in there?" And it's Nancy. It's your mother.
The fact that it was Nancy and not my grandmother, I will actually turn, and it's clear that Billy is upset, probably been crying. You can see it on his face, but he doesn't really say much. It's, he was kind of just like staring up at the ceiling when Nancy knocked.
Let's see. When she opens the door a little bit further, kind of peeks her head in, we're going to see if she notices.
I love the animated dice, by the way. Oh!
Look at that. It rolled into...
Lucky break.
It rolled into a 12. My next goal is to figure out how to do actually animated dice explosions, but that's a 15 that she rolled. So I'm going to say that Mom clearly sees something's up, as she says, "Hey, I just wanted to," and she kind of pauses, and then she lightly closes the door, and she walks over to the foot of your bed and just kind of lightly sits down and reaches over and kind of puts a hand on your leg. Is everything okay?
Do you ever have one of those moments where it seems everything in your life is just been turned around?
I want to say that you're 15 years old. What could you possibly have you in such turmoil? But when I was 15, I was pregnant with you, so yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I thought becoming a werewolf was a big adjustment. I can't really get into the details because they're insane, but things between me and Jessica are done, and it's my friend's fault.
Your friends, are they getting between you and Jessica? Driving a wedge between you somehow?
It really is. It's too much to explain, and it's too fresh. But literally 48 hours ago, I didn't think life could be any higher. Now I just feel like it's the opposite.
I wish I could tell you that it gets easier, that this is just something you'll forget about in the next day or two, but it doesn't and it won't. It's going to take some time, but you're a smart kid. You're a tough kid. Sorry. You're a tough young man. And
I don't have a problem being called kid, Mom.
Well, you could be an old gray wolf and you'll still be my pup. So
I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
well, that's the great part about being a kid, is you don't really have to know what to do all the time.
That's the point. Is I've been a thinker for as long as I can remember. You know, I make plans, I follow through, I have options, and these people are my friends. I've spent the entire summer with them. There's a lot of things that I wouldn't trade anything for. But at the same time, I'm so mad. Given what our family has, I'm kind of terrified to be me around them. With the lessons leading up to the dance, I was able to have a great time and not have not have any worries about the moon. But now the way I'm feeling, it seems like that dance was forever ago, and the pain is just too much. And if I give in, I'm likely to do something that is worse than regret.
Do you care about your friends?
I do.
Do you really care about them? Do you love your friends?
I do. I just don't know that they feel the same way about me.
It doesn't matter what they feel right now. Do you love them?
We've done some crazy things, and I've been willing to stand before the threats that have come against us. I would do it again.
if your grandfather, or if your great-grandfather was around to hear this, well, he'd have something else to say. But your pack isn't just those you were born into. Your pack is those that you love, that you hold closest around you.
And up until last night, I surely thought that my friends were that pack. And now I question. Because, you know, I strive to be a leader, strive to be someone that others look up to from multiple scenarios, try to make the right decisions. But in order for one to lead and to protect the pack, you have to trust those standing behind you. And you feel like you've been stabbed in the back, takes away a lot of trust.
Billy, since the school year started, even over the summer, I don't recall the last time I saw you without your friends, or that you were gone without your friends. This is the first time in a long time I've seen you come home without one of your friends. You said that just 48 hours ago you felt on top of the world. I wonder what could have happened that would shake you so much and make you question your love for them or their love for you. But I can't help but notice you came home alone. Does that mean that... Did you tell them this, what you just told me?
I described the way I was feeling. I told them how I was hurt. That they think they made the right decision.
I can't tell you. I wish I could. I can't tell you what the answer is to this situation, Billy. That's something you're gonna have to figure out. But what I can tell you is, if you love your friends as much as you say you do, I find it hard to believe that there could be something that could have happened in the last 2 days so intense that it would make you think that you'll never get that back.
Sometimes things are lost and they never come back.
She ponders this for a moment. And you see her struggling. She looks like she's like biting her lower lip, like she wants to say something. Make a grit check. I'm actually going to do this as an opposed. Actually, I'm wondering. Yeah, let's go grit. This will be an opposed grit check. This is kind of like an insight check in a sense.
I have a 6.
On a D10?
D12. D12.
D12. She will be rolling a D4. It explodes.
Boom!
It explodes.
It explodes.
Oh my god!
It explodes.
No! Oh my god!
One
No.
more time.
It explodes again.
Yes! What the fuck?
What is
We're at
happening?
16 total for those of you counting at home. That's a 19
It's a
on
19
a D4.
on a D4 grit check.
What in the world?
Your mom is a steel trap when it comes to her reading her emotions. I just wanted to see how far it was going to go. That's wild.
Wow.
All of this was just for you not to figure out what mom has to say.
Spoiler, she wants you to kill her.
We see off just the audience sees as she slightly pushes the silver dagger back into her holster.
Another time.
No, you can tell that she's biting her lip, but as to what she's thinking or feeling, you can't get a read on her at all, and she just says, well, maybe getting back into the routine again, school, and lessons. Your grandmother would like you to have some more training in the next few weeks before the next moon. So maybe that'll help. Dinner will be ready at 6:30. And she kind of...
Speaking of grandma,
oh,
can I ask a question?
Of course.
Did anything happen to us in regards to fallout with the Van Houtens?
Where she had started to kind of pat your leg and was just doing that kind of lightly rubbing it, she stops and just kind of grips your leg just in a firm, not like painful way, just kind of grips your leg and says, family affairs, this is not something you need to worry about. Your grandmother and I have this stuff in hand, and the Van Houtens are fine people, and we may not be having any parties with them anytime soon, but everything is fine. There's nothing you need to worry about.
I just know that they are powerful and not normal, so I'm just making sure that I'm not having to worry about any kind of reprisals either against the household or individuals.
I would like you to roll me. We're going to do a D100. And this is going to be... There's a 10% chance that she's going to say something.
Okay.
So
I roll and then you roll?
Yep, you roll and then I'll roll on screen. That's
10% chance.
37.
So if I roll between a 27 and a 47...
That's a 20% chance.
Sorry. If I roll between a 32 and a 42.
42.
I was just testing you, Carrie.
I'm on it.
That's a 1.
Wow.
Wow. That's pretty clear.
That is a 1. She just squeezes your leg just firm enough to go beyond reassuring to this is a parent saying this line of questioning is over when she says,
Sure.
Nothing you need to worry about. And then she releases her grip, gives you a pat as she stands up, and walks to the door, and she says, 6:30. As Mom heads out the door, I would like you to roll one more D100. There is literally a 4% chance that the note blows out from under the dresser.
Oh, let's go.
$54.
Oh! That was so close.
Such a tease.
Shit.
Nope, the note is firmly under the dresser.
Even if it had gone to 58, that still would not have been work. It would have,
Right. I was looking at the 50.
Yeah, I wasn't seeing the 8 yet. I was just seeing that almost landed on the... Yeah, I love these digital dice. I think it adds so much more tension to the rolls. And
oh yeah, watching it like...
Actually, Jeremy's to credit for the digital dice, because he got me thinking about it again when he asked me a question, and then I realized how easy it was to implement. So that, as Mom heads out, and I see this scene of, as the camera sort of, we see the camera almost like slowly leave your room through the window. And then we see the exterior of the Stapler house as Billy sort of moves to the stairs, down the stairs, and then the camera moves around to the dining room where we see the Stapler family seated, and Billy joining the family, assuming you join the family for dinner. I don't want to force that on you, but...
Yeah, I do, and I, as is required, I engage in dialogue, but everything is minimalistic. I'm at the table for only the exact requirement that is necessary. Any conversation is, polite but succinct. I answer whatever questions. I don't start any dialogue. As soon as I'm able, as soon as I'm able to be excused, I go back to my room and go back to my plotting and misery.
I do think it's important to note, overall dinner is very quiet. It's just you, your mother, and your grandmother. But the portrait of your great-great-grandfather, Reginald Hawthorne Stapler, you can't help but feel that you can't help but feel his eyes watching over you, not in a protective head of the pack way, but in a very judgmental way. As we're going to head over to the Cooper residence, as Oak and Coop show up. And we'll roll the clock backwards just a little bit to get back on track with. So it's probably that between 4:30 and 5 as you show up to your house, Coop.
Yep. Coop busts in and drops his backpack. What is it? Drops his coat on the ground, not his backpack, and goes, Mom is probably at bowling. Is Jake out bowling with her, or is he in the house?
Is Jake the boyfriend also Jake the bowler?
I feel like they met. I feel like they met each other at bowling.
Lunchbox requested more Jakes, but
you know what? I have an idea. So we're gonna do a D100. We're gonna say there's a 30% chance that no, we're gonna say there's a 20% chance that he's at home.
Okay. The 99.
So between a 89 and a 9, I do roll over. That's outside of the scope by 5. So Jake is not home. He did not.
Around.
He did not mess up his rotator cuff and have to stay home.
Hello, anybody home? Jake? Mom? Great, nobody's home. Whew. All right, come on. And I haul Oak through the kitchen, open the refrigerator, grab a couple of Cokes.
As soon as you open the refrigerator, there is a note pinned or attached with like a clip prominently in the center that says, "Dinner's in the oven first."
Okay, hold on.
It's written in your. It's definitely written in your mom's handwriting.
So
Cursed
Coop
underlined
goes,
like 3 times.
Coop goes and opens the oven, grabs the mitten, and takes it out so that he doesn't forget about it and burn the house down.
You can decide what mom makes for dinner that she would leave warmed in the oven for you.
Oh, Coop's mom, it's meatloaf. It's absolutely like a meatloaf.
I dig it. I was thinking like a roast or something, but yeah, meatloaf. I dig it.
Yep. So Coop puts the meatloaf on the thing, turns off the oven. Like, okay, come on, let me show you my room. It's different because I don't know if, what is it? Yeah, Oak hasn't been to my house yet in this iteration.
Yeah. In this iteration, no. Okay, yeah. Very cool. I love this.
Hold on. I just have to ask, because this has happened before. Did you both deliberately lower your voice when you said that? Or was there
in this iteration?
Or did you say that?
Maybe. I think so.
Okay,
but I don't think it was intentional.
I thought there was a glitch
because timed.
I thought it was a glitch because that had happened before where I noticed players' voices were getting really deep and there was some kind of glitch happening in the stream.
Somebody turn on the screw tapes.
Spontaneous puberty.
Like, I don't think Oak's been here in this iteration, and you're like, not in this iteration. I'm like, what is going on?
Oh my god.
All right, so we go running up the stairs. Maybe not that fast because Coop's Coop. And what is it? We go into his room. Where are my buddies?
So you've been gone for. Did you come home last night? I don't remember.
Yes, I did.
I imagine with each passing day, is your. I keep forgetting what you named the Bulbasaur.
Penelope, the plant lizard.
I don't know why I keep forgetting that. So you find that your entire ceiling is covered in a lattice of creeping vines. That some of them are just beginning. They're showing these buds that just have a little bit of a hint of a flower to come.
Ooh, it's springtime in the fall.
And there's probably over by James's terrarium, there's some more of these vines are starting to creep their way down. You can see where there's probably, I'll say like 3 of these shredded bulbs where every time a bulb for one of these flowers starts to grow, James clambers out and shreds it. Like it's coming down into his terrarium and he's just shredding it. And Templeton is just having a blast running around within the lattice work along the ceiling. He's probably even got in one corner up above the bed, he's got some of the branches and leaves sort of turned into like a little nest area. And so you sort of see that scene. It's also a lot more humid in this room than it was. And you see that Templeton's white face sticking out from this otherwise dark green nest up near the ceiling.
Oh, it's kind of warm and moist in here. It's almost wetzica.
That's 2.
Why?
There was 1 in chat and I counted it.
It wasn't though. That's got to be 1.5, Jake.
Nope, I counted it. I already said I was counting it.
Oh, jeez.
So,
I'd like to file a complaint.
as you come into the room and Templeton pokes his head out, you immediately hear, and he sees that it's the 2 of you. Templeton sticks his head out and he goes, "It's okay, Penelope. False alarm." And as you glance back at the door, there were some vines that were starting to come creeping downward, and they were curling toward the opening, and you see them just beginning. In fact, there were 2 of those bulbs that were starting to flower. And when Templeton says this, you see these bulbs quickly start to close, and they sort of coil back up.
Oh my god.
Hi, guys. Look, I brought my friend Oak with me. Oh, look at you, Penelope. You're getting so big. Who's a big girl? Who's a big girl?
Penelope just gives you the sort of staring straight ahead, and you just see that tongue just kind of poke out a couple times.
That's awesome.
Hope, is that a... Okay. What? Welcome to the jungle. Okay. Is your mom okay with this? Like,
I'm not sure my mom's even noticed. She just muttered something once about, oh, you're interested in plants. That's great. And that was it. So.
Okay, but whoa.
And I think he looks down at Templeton and sees James.
Little
okay.
James on his hind legs.
Wow. Okay, so I didn't think I'd see you guys ever.
And he gets down, like, good reference, Indian in the cupboard, right? Where he's like down on the floor and like can see them.
Hey guys. Okay.
Meanwhile, you have this, I imagine, like dog-size lizard in Penelope, just like in your arms.
Bigger. I think we established that Penelope was basically almost like a Komodo dragon.
Oh, full Komodo.
Okay. This is so cool. Hi guys. I know it's been a while. Okay. How is this possible?
I don't know. The new iteration started, and James started it with me, and then later we found Templeton because James called him with their minds. Oh, and then the Penelope hatched out of one of my rocks.
I'm sorry. Rewind the tape. Go back. Did you just say it came out of one of your rocks?
And yes.
Okay, well, she came out of... You mean that's not just a lizard? That's an alien? An alien. Because there's no... That's not just a lizard. If it came out of one of your rocks, either one, it's a... That can't just be a lizard.
What hatches out of rocks?
Aliens? Aliens for one?
Everyone knows that.
Well,
Dragons? Maybe? I mean...
Penelope's not a dragon.
Well, she sure looks
have
like a dragon.
snout. She doesn't breathe fire. But...
Oh, okay. Well...
Anyways,
This is
Tempe
both-
would have Tempe and James would have told me if she was a dragon.
Okay, well, this is the coolest and the weirdest thing I've seen tonight. But I love this. This is so cool.
Yeah. Oh, Coop checks the time. Oh, who wants to go downstairs and watch some TV? Mom and Jake shouldn't be home for like another couple hours at least.
Nice.
You see James does this thing that almost looks like a toddler happy dance. When you mention TV, James is like on his hind legs, kind of going back and forth from leg to leg, and kind of.
Oh my god!
James, in my mind, for reference, the size of James is about the size of, in the 1980s, there was a Godzilla toy that like shot its fist off or something like that, and but it was a good sized, like 2 foot tall toy. That's what I picture. What I'm picturing when I picture.
James is small, but he's large enough to make Coop's mom nervous when he's out of the terrarium.
Yes. And at this point, Templeton comes scurrying down, and kind of runs down to Penelope and gets down into the thick green, almost grass-like vegetation that's on the back of her neck, and they already begin kind of moving towards the door.
Oh, and as we're walking out the door, Coop's like, oh, and there's meatloaf, and I brought Oreos, and oh, we're gonna have to look at this glove.
Yeah, okay.
Good party at the Cooper residence.
So yeah, I think that there's a moment where like there's a scene where maybe the TV's on behind. We have like the TV glow of poltergeist level TV glow, where it's just you just see the TV glow and nothing else, and it's just the two of them, like blanket fort with like the couch pillows and everything, just like looking at the power glove and figure it out while the sound of probably some cartoon or something is on in the background. I love that.
Wait,
image.
what time is it? Is it around 5 in the evening now ish?
5:30. It's going to be Sunday afternoon TV.
Oh man! Saved by the Bell.
You know,
of course.
Well, I mean, there's probably
7 o'clock.
Sure,
night.
There's Saved by the Bell. There's probably it's Saved by the Bell followed by Small Wonder.
Oh,
Small Wonders. Oh yeah.
Which Small Wonder, for those that don't know, is about a family that has a little girl who's like, I don't know what she was, 10, but she's a robot.
Yeah, a robot.
I have a note card around here that I'm desperately trying to find.
While Jake is checking out for his note card, check us out on teespring.com. At teespring.com, we've got all kinds of great t-shirts like the one I'm wearing, the one Tamiko is wearing, the one Jeremy is wearing, and so many more. You can get all of our great logos on t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, stickers, and all kinds of other great stuff. Teespring.com. Just follow the link in the description for this video.
I don't think I'm going to find that note, so I'm going to have
Shit.
to rely on my memory.
It's usually timed so perfectly.
I did all I could.
So I will say, I picture that there's this, like you said, there's that that glow of the television in the room, and we see the camera sort of panning across the room as we see James holding probably an Oreo or something in his little lizard gator hands, and is trying to like turn his head. He's trying not to just and then we see Penelope with Templeton sort of reclining back in the vegetation of Penelope's back. And
oh my god, I love them.
I just picture that there is a can of soda with a silly straw that Templeton is drinking soda from. Templeton in my mind just very much became Pinky from Pinky and the Brain.
Oi!
He has a noticeably fatter belly.
Yeah.
He's like
He's thinking
sitting
what I'm
up like a
thinking.
person.
I think so, Brain, but where are we going to find a duck and a rubber hose at this hour?
What we gonna do tonight, Brian?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take
Show,
over
man.
the world.
90s cartoons. Hit
I love
different.
Pinky and the Brain was the best. Animaniacs, I love that stuff.
Mm.
So then we continue panning over and we see Coop sitting there also snacking as Coop's right hand is off to the side, and that's where we see Oak probably has like a little gooseneck lamp or something pulled over and is examining this glove while it's on. Would you have tried to take it off, or just looking at it while it's on Coop's hand?
So I think I probably would have seen if I could take it off, but like seeing, like if close examination, I would have seen that it had been basically fused, right? Like it does look like it's fused, or
Well, I would like a
something
brains
that you
check.
could potentially
Well,
check. So.
Yeah, that's why you're here. Brains.
Maybe. Brains. Let's hope, right? Let's hope.
Hopefully it works, guys.
Spontaneous puberty again.
Well, that there is a 13. So I think that counts.
So-
Do I have any extra bonuses?
Yeah, so in
No,
the
it's flat D20.
yeah, you definitely figure out that this glove is not coming. You can't even peel it back. It looks like where the glove, wherever those Tron-like circuit patterns are coming out from the glove across the fingers, the thumb, and just in sort of the mid forearm where the end of the glove is. It's those circuits are like they look almost subdermal, and it looks for all intents and purposes like this glove is a physical part of Coop's anatomy.
Well, you want the good news or the bad news? I mean, also kind of good news, I guess. Like,
Both, I guess.
okay, well, this is like the coolest thing you could have ever found. That's one.
Yeah.
But two, it's not coming off, but like it's because it's part of you now. Like it, I don't think I could take it off, or like a doctor could take it off, but maybe you could. But I don't want to test that. You know what I'm saying? Like this looks really. It's super cool, but it also looks super fragile, and I don't want to hurt you.
Oh, well, that's okay. If it doesn't come off, it doesn't come off.
While you're tinkering with this power glove, are you pressing any of the buttons, pressing the D-pad, pressing any of the key functions, maybe putting in the Konami code?
Oh,
Do it.
yeah. I think I would. I think I would play around with it, especially if it had anything special, like if it had like the only thing I could think of that I know wasn't on any of these power gloves, but like a joystick, like for fighters.
There's a whole keyboard.
Yeah, there's a whole keyboard on it and stuff. So I think he would like play around with stuff.
Yeah, be careful.
so-
Let me point my arm at the ground just in case.
Right, good idea. Okay, and I just start. Obviously, I'm gonna probably do just like basic things to see if just individual keystrokes do anything, and then I would try like more advanced stuff if nothing happens.
Yes.
So I need you to roll a grit check.
Grit check. Okay.
And the
cool.
whole time, Coop's telling him too about some of the stuff the glove's already done.
Oh, cool. Cool.
There we go.
Okay, I am not very good at grit, so that is a 5. So I will actually, I will use some of them pops and bring it up to
Gold star.
I think
Star.
Gold star gives you 2.
Gold star gives you a
Gold star
+2.
Gives me the 2. Yep, gold star is going to give me the +2, and then I think I'll use additional 3 to make that a 10.
Atta boy.
Okay, so you're at a 10.
Hell yeah.
You use 3 pops.
Yeah, because I would roll
okay.
the 5, use my star, and then added additional.
For a second there, I completely forgot I'm managing the pops, so I'm like,
Yep.
oh wait, I gotta do something with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts us at 39.
Yay. Yay.
Nope, that's not right.
Oh.
I went the wrong way. You're at
What did you do?
39. You got to hear your pop crunch though.
Yay, maybe.
I dropped in the docs and info, and I'll drop in the public Discord for Paradise, which for some reason I've lost. There it is. There is what a Power Glove, Nintendo Power Glove looks like. So you can see all the buttons. The difference is that this one, where you see black, it is white. Or sorry, where you see gray, it is white. It's a mixture of white and black. There's no gray. And all of the numbering and lettering and everything is gold.
Oh.
So
Awesome.
you have brought yourself to a 10 for grit. Coop, I need you to roll a grit check.
Oh man. Alright. My grit's not so bad. It's a D8. Oh! I explode.
Nice.
13.
Okay.
Count on my fingers.
So, as you start to fiddle with the Power Glove, Oak, you press the first couple buttons, and the channel on the TV starts changing. What's odd about this is I got to imagine that the Coopers don't have a remote controlled television. They have a classic. You had a tuner that you had to actually click.
Yep, rabbit ears.
And as you're pressing buttons, all of a sudden the channel's changing, and not only that, it's changing the channels that you don't normally get. I imagine there's even a point where it like goes to one of those like distorted, scrambled like Cinemax or something, and it briefly unscrambles, and you both see something you were absolutely not supposed to see. And then the channel changes again.
Oh, okay, Cooper just sitting there like for like 1 second.
At the same time that happens, Coop, you exploded while you grit checked.
Oh my god.
So
Awesome.
I just gotta double check this. The circuitry from this extends even further, a full 3 or 4 inches up your arm, becoming more complex and intricate, and you actually feel these circuits sort of burning into your skin. I would say it's the pain level of running your hand suddenly under very hot water. At the same time, there is a taser-like shock that sends a jolt through your body, Oak, and your hands, you're sort of kind of pushed back away from where you were holding onto this glove, trying to check it out, as it shocks you. And I imagine you were probably sitting in the chair next to the couch where Coop is, and it's the chair that Jake sits in, and it kind of spins you partway around violently. I would say, I'm not going to bring up the damage meters, but you definitely went down 1 on your health bar.
Ooh.
And your brains check was enough from before that you're able to sort of surmise from this experiment that Coop's power glove has the ability to control electronics and possibly more complex machines and electronics. What you've also learned, it seems to have some kind of security system to protect Coop from somebody else fidgeting or doing something nefarious with it. And 2, there are certain use conditions in which this power glove is further integrating itself into Coop. And your 12-year-old brain raised on D&D and sci-fi is telling you that Coop could become more machine now than man. Twisted and evil.
Oh no.
The more
if
Coop uses
this way, I will be so sad I will quit.
The more Coop uses this, the more there's a potential for it to overtake him. This is, in essence, a biomechanical, slower version of the moss effect that you had that was taking over your body in the first iteration. I'm trying to find that one because I can't remember what it was called. The Lonesome Death of Jody Verrill, based on the Stephen King
out of
story.
character. We're gonna have to find Spoke.
We're gonna have to find Spoke. I think that he comes up. I imagine that his hair is all frazzled from the electricity.
Whoa. Okay. So, couple of things.
Oh, whatever you did hurt me.
Yeah.
Coop says as you're frying.
As like a single electrical arc goes through his hair.
Okay. 2 things. One, I want to learn about that, but I don't think I could touch that. I think you have to learn that.
Oh dear.
I can't do it.
Okay.
Apparently, it doesn't like to be messed with. So it must be something with like user only, player 1, right? Like that's you.
Okay.
Okay. And then, dude, I know you haven't had a chance to like play D&D or whatever, but like, I don't know. Do you feel? Does it give you like a good vibe? Like, does it give you like a good feeling inside?
Well, yeah, except for just now.
Well, yeah, I know that, but like when you're wearing it, is it like? Does it talk to you like the animals do, or like nothing?
No,
Okay.
My hand couldn't even talk to me before.
Okay, well,
when it was on
maybe.
its own.
Well, maybe. I'm just saying. Look, there's a thing called cursed items in D&D, and I don't know. I would hate for you to think that thing is a cool thing, and then keep using that cool thing, which it is a cool thing. But I would hate for that cool thing to then end up hurting you and or, killing you. All I'm saying is if it is cursed, I want to find a way to be able to take it off of you if it gets bad. Because
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm on board.
How do you feel about living a life as a robot, like RoboCop style?
Whoa. That'd be amazing. I'd be a great robot.
You would be an awesome robot. You're already halfway there. So if you want to live that life, you do it. I believe in your dreams, Koopy.
They hug.
So I'm adding just a little bit of information to the note. I'm doing it in Discord so you have it. That
Tamiko, go, dude. You'll be back by the time Jake figures his shit out.
Hey, stay here and play with my friends.
So-
I'll be right back.
I'll have to edit this a little bit, but basically, it's fine because you're the one that realizes this, Oak. That in addition, in part of the way that it communicates, you're able to determine that the glove can actually detect yaw, pitch, roll, uses fiber optic sensors to detect finger flexure to the resolution of 256 positions per finger. So it has full, it's better than some VR gloves, I think, nowadays.
Wow.
It also has 2 ultrasonic speakers in the glove that are used as transmitters and receivers. To what end you don't fully know. And
Foundation Bluetooth.
Did you just say something about foundation?
Foundation of Bluetooth.
Oh,
Yes.
it basically, this glove in conjunction, it's basically powered seemingly from Coop's own mechanical existence, from his own life, I guess. I can't think of a better word for
His
it.
life essence.
I imagine the Oak's trying to explain this to me, and Coop is just sitting there nodding, but the inside
Blank
of his head is like a monkey playing the bongos or something. He has no idea what Oak's saying.
But the hand, all these sensors allow the hand to fully understand where it is in relative space. But you're able to determine that in certain situations, it's kind of like your mind starts thinking, well, how can I use this? How could this thing be used? Why would it need to know all of this information? And that's when you start to think about, well, what is it at its core? It's a video game controller. It's its original design. It's used to control spaceships flying on a screen, or heroes running around, or characters firing various types of weapons. This could potentially be used to mimic those same kinds of controls. That basically, the possibilities are endless. So with that realization, I would like to know what Rosie and Laz are doing with the rest of their afternoon.
I mean, honestly, I think Rosie has told Laz the FBI is coming. I think probably Rosie would finish her cereal and kind of maybe just wants to get home. I think she kind of wants to go to bed. This whole day has been very trying. She didn't sleep well last night at all. And I think she's super tired. And she's thinking about a lot. So she would probably say goodbye to Laz maybe around 6.
Yeah, I imagine Laz will offer to, skateboard with her home, if she wants.
You literally live like 2 doors down.
You just.
Are you also in?
We're neighbors in
Yeah,
Stone Hill.
you don't live that far away. I don't remember the exact distance, but you guys are both on Stone Hill.
So I would walk my bike home, and if he wants to walk me home, I would let him.
Absolutely.
I imagine Laz offers, and then I'm like, I live like 100 feet away.
I don't have to. It's
I would love you to walk me home, Laz. I would love you to walk me home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Then
And I go outside and I pick up my bike, remembering how harried I was when I frickin' practically threw it onto Laz's lawn.
As you're heading outside, you just hear the predominantly the drums of your mom from the basement, but she's playing along to one of their older tracks from their album Let's Bang Our Drums.
Naturally.
Amazing.
One of the household favorites.
But yeah, as you cross the short distance to your home, Rosie, I got to imagine it's with some sense of relief that your mom's car is not in the driveway.
For sure. Yeah, Rosie doesn't have really anywhere else to go, but going home is making her nervous, and she's kind of remembering why she didn't sleep so well last night. And so she just kind of well, here we are. Just kind of try to play it off.
Yeah. It really isn't that far at all, I guess. Are you okay?
I mean, as okay as I can be,
Yeah.
A lot of shit on my mind.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to talk about it or whatever, you can call me or ask me to come over, or you can come over to my place, or just whatever.
Thanks, Laz. I appreciate that. I might take you up on it.
Yeah, well, get some good rest. See you tomorrow?
Yeah, bright and early. It's Monday morning again. And I imagine that, Rosie kind of takes Laz's hand and says, "Thanks, Laz. It means a lot that you are right down the street."
Yeah. It's good to have, it's good to be close. And I think at that point he actually steps a little closer.
As Rosie says that, she gets closer. It's good to be close. They're very, very close. And then I imagine Rosie would kiss him. He's a little taller than her, so she stands up on her tippy toes, and yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely reciprocates. Then he skates home on cloud 9.
Rosie watches him go. It's about 35 seconds, and then she goes in her front door.
The house is thankfully quiet, and I imagine with everything going on, by the time you head upstairs and get ready for bed, you fall asleep, maybe worrying whether or not you'd be able to sleep, but you fall asleep pretty easily.
Nice.
We're going to swing back over to the Stapler house. Post dinner, it's getting later in the evening. It's time for Billy's getting ready for bed, and you hear the sound of something light hitting your bedroom window, like somebody throwing stones at your window.
Oh.
So I will get out of bed and kind of look out the window, try and see if I can ascertain who's chucking stones at the window.
One of the benefits of being a werewolf, or more specifically a Michigan Dogman, is improved vision at night.
Nice.
And you can see outside that the side chat got me.
Good job, Coop.
Surprise!
You can I'll let you share with chat if you want
Hey.
to. Otherwise, no, that one got me.
Says, surprise, it's Mrs. Nelson.
Yeah.
Brigitte is right outside your
Brigitte.
fucking window, dude.
I heard you've been thinking about me.
Guten Nacht, meine Kinder. That's creepy.
Oh my god.
Sadly, it is not the it is not the European metal shop teacher. It's Carson. He is standing in the shade by a tree, kind of peeking his head out and chucking pebbles at your window, trying to get your attention.
Alright, so do I have any, egress from up here, or do I have to sneak out of the house to get outside?
You would have to go outside. There's no there's nothing that gives you easy access down to the first floor.
So I will try to signal that I signal that I heard him. I will sneak out.
He kind of motions towards the back of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So you make your way down and quietly down to the kitchen and out the back door. And as you open the back door, you see Carson is a little further back. You can see him standing just outside the carriage house. It's from the time this house was built, it would have been a carriage house, but it's been converted to a garage. And he's kind of motions again as he opens the door and heads inside.
Go on in.
As you head inside, there's a single incandescent light hanging on a hanging from its cord with a chain pull that he pulls on in the back by the workbench, and he's sitting on a stool, and he just looks at you as you walk in. Clearly you didn't get my note. I've been waiting out here for hours.
Yes.
Wow.
It doesn't matter. I was able to get your attention anyway.
So what happened? Last I saw, we were dragging your body through the waters of Lake Michigan, and now we're back here, and you don't work for us anymore? What's going on?
It took a while for me to understand. I'm not even sure I fully understand everything, but I was driving you guys from the school here to the house after the dance. There was
You were supposed to, but
there was
someone knocked you out and threw you in the back of the car. And then we somehow drove through a portal, landed the car on a boat that sunk 100 years ago.
my memory's fuzzy of all that, but I remember the boat, and then the lighthouse.
Mhm.
And then you guys were there, and then you were gone, and I was left alone. Except, I must have hit my head pretty hard because I could have sworn I seen hundreds of that girl you like. And then
There's something going on.
this old guy at the lighthouse came down and he pulled me through the door, and then he said, "Sorry to do this to you, pal." And he shoved me through this trap door. And I was back on that ship. The one that was sinking. I don't know if you know this, but I know now that was Edmund Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm.
That was up in Lake Superior. That was in 1975. Somehow, I was the only one that survived that ship sinking. When the Coast Guard showed up, they tell me I was moments away from freezing to death in the waters. And
I am very sorry that all happened. I thought we had pulled you through.
Listen, Billy, I'm not gonna lie. I thought you left me for dead.
Oh, well.
And I hated you. And I wanted to make you pay. That, Lieutenant Commander Adkins, he was a part of the Coast Guard that saved my life 10 years ago. And I became friends with him, and I spent the last decade basically living with him, helping him raise he had a 5-year-old kid that I helped kind of raise, because he was gone all the time. And then recently he got involved in something, this laboratory. He became obsessed with your family. He became obsessed with all of the others, the other monster kind. And I hadn't said a word. I stayed true to my vows to your grandmother. And I never said a word. But then, once you already knew about it, he fostered that hate in me, and I let him, and I was working with him to try and destroy you, your family, and all the others. Then things went sideways the other night. I'm not even entirely sure what happened, and listen,
This has been a really, really rough weekend. I am glad to see that you are okay, and it doesn't sound like you're luring me here to my death. So, have you had a change in heart, or are you letting me know, like, this is the battle lines and to expect war? I don't really know what's going on.
I don't know what I'm gonna do, Billy. But I don't want to hurt you or your family. I came here to warn you. I came here to warn you to watch out for that military guy. He's running security for the Nexus Project Labs. You see his kid at school, stay away from him.
That's not likely to happen.
Well, he's bad news.
He's
And
gone.
there's... Before I go, I feel... You need to know everything that's happening with you and your friends. Everything that's happening with you and your friends is because of your family.
My family?
Your great-great-grandfather. He put everything into motion. He's been manipulating you since before you were born.
Isn't he gone though? Like,
I thought he was gone. I've often found your grandmother talking to him out in the family plot. But now I'm starting to worry that with everything else that if even half of what I've heard is true, maybe she is talking to him. Maybe he's still pulling the strings. The lieutenant commander, during the party a couple days ago, he used the distraction that happened when your friend killed the Van Houten vampire. He broke into the family safe. And he stole some very important documents.
okay. I think we might have to do something about that.
I was able to get a glimpse at some of what he saw. But he has all of the files. He's working for the Nexus Labs, but he's working against them.
Normally, when someone's working against my enemies, then that makes him an ally. But if he's also working against the family, then that's a problem.
He's only ever told me a small fraction of what he's actually involved in. And if I think that the little bit that I know is bad, then the rest of it has got to be even worse. There's things that go back decades. And I saw a file that I don't understand, but some of the dates were like I gotta do a little mental math here. 2035?
We have paperwork for 50 years in the future.
I didn't get much of a look at it, but some of what I saw identified Obviously, he knows all about our family and the monsters' families. But he knows about some of your friends, too.
So what is your plan from here?
My plan?
You going back?
My plan is to get the hell out of Dodge. The family's moved on. As far as they're considered, I'm dead. I'm long gone. They replaced me.
Truly sorry that happened for whatever part I played.
It's not your fault.
Truly.
You and your friends are, to this point, you think you're in control, but you've just been pawns being moved around a game board. You need to find out how to get control of the game.
It's
Flip
been
the
that
board.
way since summer.
Flip the board if you have to. Figure it out. Your friend Orson, one of the younger kids you hang out with, his note said that he can talk to ghosts. If that's true, maybe he can talk to your great-grandfather.
I'm not certain I would want to put my friends up into a conversation with him, but I can certainly bring up the subject. I don't know what loyalty you have to this, crazed soldier boy, but you give me intel of where I'd be able to sneak in and deprive him of the papers. I would take that as kindness.
I don't have any loyalty. And with that, he reaches in his pocket and sets something down on the table. And on the table is a key. This is a key to the Edkins house. And then he reaches in and he pulls another, sets down a different key. I was able to make a copy of the key, the gun safe in his office. Anything of importance to him is in that safe. I don't know if I'll ever see you again. I don't know if I want to ever see you again. Nothing personal, but...
So, Billy, restrains a pained grimace at that. I understand. I wish you nothing but luck. Thank you for everything you've done for me.
He starts moving around a little bit, and he's opening up a couple of these old wooden cupboards that are in there, like he's looking for something as he's talking to you, and he says, yeah, it's nothing. Try not to take it personal, but at this point, being around your family and being around the Adkins family, hell, being in Paradise, there's nothing good for me here. He kind of reaches back and finds what he's looking for. It's an old coffee can, and written on the side is floor dry. And he opens up the lid, and you can see there's kitty litter in there used for soaking up oil spills. And he digs his hand right down inside it to the very bottom, and he pulls out of this big Folgers can wrapped in plastic a big old stack of cash.
Oh.
And
so as he's doing that, in kind of response to his last line, to quote one of my and he pauses for a moment before he says friends, but he does say it. This place sucks.
You got that right, kid. I tell you where I'm going, but I don't want anybody to know.
Again, I understand.
He kind of dusts his kitty litter covered hand off on his jacket, and he reaches out, offers his hand.
I offer mine, and I say, like, you probably don't want to hear this as you're leaving. Should our paths ever cross again, you are and will always be family to me.
He gives you a look back over his shoulder, but he doesn't say anything. He just kind of nods, and he turns and he starts walking away as the sad Hulk music begins to play as he walks off into the distance.
And I scoop up the keys.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Wow. Ooh, stuff is afoot.
And I saw some hand motions. I think somebody was trying to claim an Oak Coop mix-up.
Yes.
What?
I think Coop can talk to ghosts. Not Oak.
Oak can speak
Oak
directly to ghosts.
We
Did he?
both have
Oh,
we
okay.
both had moments
It is true.
Okay.
of
Oak
of
spoke
ghost-
directly to his sister's ghost.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
for
of
that
course.
like for that one arc there was like
If
a
Coop-
section.
If Coop has the ability to speak to ghosts, he either thinks he does, or the Nexus Project doesn't know that he does.
Because that was
Um,
during. Because the only reason I remember that was because that was during Jeremy's arc, when he heard he would telepathically
He,
bonded
like, called
with
out to
all the
Just because Coop
With all
does
the
doesn't mean that Oak can.
ghosties.
Maybe Oak is Miss Cleo. Miss
Maybe.
Cleo.
Yeah,
Cleo.
Your guys' ability
Come
to
in
come up with name mixes is amazing.
Oh my goodness gracious!
The best.
This-
Amazing.
This was interesting because I actually kept the ambient playlist going the whole time. I didn't have to kick it up
Ooh.
to spooky.
It was very
or
chill,
actiony.
very chill.
There was some time for a little bit of new information, but to let you guys kind of think on some stuff and figure some things out, and
Further drive a wedge between us and our dear friend Billy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Just remember that as players, I care very much for you guys.
Back at you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As a
Same.
PC,
So-
go fuck yourself. No, I'm just kidding.
You've already said that a couple episodes ago, so
yeah. You
you're
know,
actually speaking louder than words.
So
I
when
just have to send Ted a secret message once in a while, say like, "Hey man, you're doing a great job." But like,
I don't think he's ever going to watch this game, but in case he does, I just want you to know that a long time ago when I first got this glove, my nephew, my sister's kid said, "Oh yeah, lean into the mutations, Mimi. Lean in."
that's awesome.
that's awesome. He knows what's up. He knows what's
Hell
up.
yeah, that's great.
See how far down the rabbit hole we can go?
So that line about will become more machine now than man, twisted and evil.
Twisted.
That's
and-
literally the last line of the entry is what you discovered when you made the discovery is if they continue to use the power glove, they risk becoming more machine now than man, twisted and evil.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was good. It felt appropriate to have Jessica kind of just not be able to cope. And
We've all had a lot of shit.
yeah. Once I had confirmation, the timing was perfect because M had just messaged and said that they weren't going to be able to make it. So, with that said, next week, the expectation is we're going to start off Monday morning back at school. So be thinking about that.
Early in the
I'll
morning.
have to take a look at everybody's class schedules again and see what's going on as once again we move the clock forward a few more hours on the longest weekend ever.
Hey,
was
Jake,
quite
I
the
missed the
weekend.
announcements. Is hell tomorrow?
Yes, I was just about to say that. Please do stop by tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for part 2 of Welcome to Hell, Michigan. They just
Meet
made
us in
it
hell.
to the Hell Creek Ranch, and they met Dakota and Ashton Reed, and some pretty awesome horses. So yeah, we'll be continuing that tomorrow night. Otherwise, thank you to everybody who subbed or resubbed or gifted subs, all that good stuff. Thank you for all the people in chat. Love seeing everybody hanging out in chat. And of course, as always, thank you to these amazing friends and players. You know, they were joking about it. We joke about it. Things get intense with the characters. That's why we have a content warning at the beginning. Things can get intense, but we all love one another. We respect one another. We're great friends. That's why we know we can go to some of these places and experiment with these emotions and there's nothing quite like having to go through the experience of teen angst while also going through paranormal, supernatural, and science fiction-y elements. So thank you as always to Chad, Tamiko, Carrie, Ted, Jeremy, and though they weren't with us tonight, they were with us in spirit, M, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. You can say it with me if you want.
Springtime.